Hi there. Figured out I'd try out a little change of scenery since my wife works from home and we have this nice backyard here. It's a small backyard, but it's a nice backyard. Do a little talking to the camera. I should mention that we live in the flight path of a major airport, and so every once in a while you might hear a plane flying overhead. I'm hoping that having this mic close to me will eliminate a lot of that noise because I'm not gonna stop talking while the planes fly, because if I do that, I'm never gonna finish this video. But anyway, I wanted to make this video today just to talk about my A6700 setup and how I not rig it up, but how I set it up for travel to make my life easier for shooting photos and videos. But for the purposes of this video, we're just gonna talk about what I do for the video aspect of it. Because photo is photo, video is video. And I usually only like to travel with one lens. Usually it's like a 24 millimeter or a 35 millimeter. Because what I find is that those are the focal lengths that I like the best. You might like shooting with a 50 or shooting with like a more of a wide angle lens. But for me, lately, 35 millimeters is the way to go. And if I need a tighter shot, I use the clear image zoom on Sony, which is available on all Sony cameras, where you can digitally punch in 1.5 times, which makes the 35 millimeter roughly 52 millimeters. By the way, when I say 35 millimeters, the lens I have on here is a 25 millimeter, which translates to about a 37 millimeter. And that's how I get the focal length calculation with the APS-C sensor, if you know what I mean. And so like I said, you can punch in and make that 37 millimeter like a 54 or something. In addition to that, you can turn on active stabilization, which then makes it crop in a little bit more, so you can get, I don't know, 60 millimeters. Somebody can correct me in the comments on that math. Small camera, little 25 millimeter lens made by SG Image, which I talked about in a previous video as well. As far as everything else with the camera, I don't usually travel with like a shotgun mic. I might bring this Rode Video Micro just so I can plop it down and plug it into the 3.5 jack with this 4-foot cable, so I can just do a little, talking to camera if I want to narrate or talk about what we did for any particular day on a trip. Generally speaking, I don't like putting mics on cameras because usually I'm just using the A6700 to capture cinematic B-roll or film just the kids, and I don't really need the best audio because I'm not talking to the camera. I hope that makes sense. As far as exposure control, we all know that when you shoot video, you want that 180-degree shutter rule. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, you want that 1/50 shutter speed, or 1/48 if your camera allows it, to get proper motion blur so that things look more cinematic, more natural, as a lot of experts say. But personally, I hate traveling with filters. Taking them off, like say you're filming something outside, so you have your ND filter on, which is like sunglasses for your lens, which cuts the exposure, allows you to bring the shutter speed down. But say you're with your family and you're outside and they want to go inside to like a gift shop or something, and you follow them in there, and then you have to like unscrew your filter, put it in this little pouch, and then you missed like a minute of time with your family. So what I picked up is a K&F Concept 1 to 5 stop variable ND filter with a quarter mist. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. This is just a filter that I like. And I find that having that 1 to 5 stop allows you to shoot pretty close to wide open at the 5 stop end. And when you put it at its lightest at 1 stop, it doesn't really affect the low light shooting, because with the A6700, you can crank up the ISO pretty high to compensate for that 1 stop of light loss from the ND filter. Granted, you probably want to shoot on a pretty fast lens, like a f1.4, f1.8. My lens is a f1.8, so with the ND filter on, that at its minimum cuts out 1 stop of light, I think it's like f2.5 or something like that. So just know that your f1.8 lens with this particular ND filter on, which is a 1 to 5 stop, at 1 stop will give you the equivalent amount of light as a f2.5, which for me is fine. I have no problems with it shooting at night with this filter on. Like, I'll show you. I can get in here and I kind of, I can make it darker or brighter just by turning it, and that's really convenient when you're traveling. Get that right? Hang on a sec. There you go. But that's the biggest thing for me is this 1 to 5 stop filter is great for traveling. And I kind of put, where's my cap? Hang on a sec. So in addition to the filter, I put a little magnetic ring on there with this magnetic lens cap, and that makes, capping and uncapping your lens way easier. I just wanted to share a little tip I have for those videographers out there that might want to take your camera traveling but don't want to deal with putting filters on, taking filters off. So there is a trade-off in that if it's super bright outside and you wanted to shoot wide open at f1.8, sometimes that 5 stops of ND is not enough and you will have to stop down a little bit or crank the shutter speed. And for me, that's a compromise I'm willing to make for that convenience of never having to remove the filter. And that's all I ever want to do on this platform, is to share my experiences and share whatever knowledge I have to help others shoot better videos and make things easier to shoot said videos. By the way, my goal for this channel is to do this thing without ever doing an ad read or doing a sponsored video or getting products shipped to me to do sponsored content. I'm gonna try to do this without any of that. And I know that it'll affect my growth, and I know I may not make as much money as I could, but I wanna do this thing the way I wanna do it, which is no ad reads, no sponsored content ever. It's just me yapping to the camera, talking about stuff I do, and yeah, that's it. So if you like this video, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. It's a plane flying by, and that's all.